Hi guys, welcome back to BS2TCG Deck Forger, and this is your host Mark Eong, and we are here tonight to discuss another totally outrageous deck tech courtesy of our friends from BS2PCG Philippines. This is the newest, one of the newest expansions to come from the Darkness and Light arc, and this particular deck is built around the Crimson Cowl aka Ultron main character. And these guys of course appear in the newest expansion to have dropped here in the Philippines, and that is Masters of Evil. And Masters of Evil again is still available at FHP BS2 PCG Philippines online store. So again, before we go to our main topic for tonight, of course, we have seen the last battle between going semi-finalists, Jessica Jones, okay, using her Infinity Engine versus the Magnetic Landy of Magneto. And it was a very close fight, again, with Jessica Jones winning the first round, and she was able to execute the Infinite Machine combo of her deck, okay, with the likes of course, the Wasp, Arnim Sola, and of course Cosmo, and finally Dinosaur hitting the board and being able to loop and gain those particularly nasty discards, totally removing your opponent's hand, and at the same time Cosmo removing all their superpowers and keyword powers, and finally KOing them or stunning them because of those -1/-1 counters from those infinite loop of the Wasp. And if to, of course, add insult to injury, those +1/+1 counters from Dinosaur will give your the player's character an endless amount of +1/+1 counters of up to a gazillion of them for the opponent to contend with. But then again, the second round of the match, okay, proved to be better for Magneto as he was able to effect the magnetic landy, or what we call resource destruction of his opponent. So he was able to play those particular green locations to power up Magneto's resource denial or resource destruction ability. And going to the third and final round, of course, as we all know right now, by now, Jessica Jones won the match because she was able to again execute that infinite combo by using 2 to 3 Cypher to be able to draw those cards, those needed cards from her deck. And by this time, of course, we are looking at the W.O. Ripley and Captain Marvel battle. So it will really be a very good match. And I won't be discussing that anymore because I'm running out of time. But again, we'll talk about it in the next episode of BS2PCG Deck Forger. So now going back to our main man of this particular episode. And this is Crimson Cowl, aka the powerful Ultron. And this is totally outrageous because later on in our sample gameplay, you will find out why this particular deck is very taxing for players who are on the opposite side of your board. So again, stick with me guys as we go over all the deck components of this new deck. And of course, this is BS2BCG Deck Forger. So now we are here at our deck decking table, and we're going to show you a sample gameplay on how to play the Crimson Cowl Ultron hide and seek deck. So again, as a disclaimer guys, this is my particular build. Any build can be better, and as long as of course you put your heart into it. Okay, now let's try to open this red deck box, and you can see here that we have your Ultron and Crimson Cowl at the same time. So later on we will try to discuss how Ultron and Crimson Cowl actually works, okay? But of course, as a very quick description, Crimson Cowl is from the Masters of Evil. It has flight and range, It has 4 attack and 2 defense, and it has 6 health, and it's also known as Ultron. So same time, it's the same as the 4-drop Ultron and the 2-drop Ultron from the Masters of Evil. And it's its superpower, which is gas pellet pistol. And same time, its level up requirements is acquiring the blueprints. And when you become level 2, it becomes a 10 attack 4 defense character with, of course, eye emitters. And now you can infiltrate the mansion and use the Avengers Mansion to play for his superpower. Okay, let's try to get a sample gameplay for this particular dude. Okay, so I will try to shuffle again my deck, but this time I'm not going to go leaping on each one because it takes much more time. It gets boring. Okay, now of course we'll try to cut it as better as possible and show it on camera so that you can be assured that we are not actually setting up anything and everything is purely random. So let's say we try to use a particular number, let's say 2, 3, 1. Okay, so 2, 3, 1. Okay, now let's try to look at how this will work. We now draw 7 cards. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So okay, we have 7 cards. Okay, so what do we have here? Of course, now we have your House of Time, and you have your Wakanda, and you have your Game Preserve, and lucky enough we have an active camouflage. Okay, no need to use that Wakanda anymore and just reserve it for one particular equipment. You have a Helmut Zemo, another Out of Time, and another active camouflage. Okay, nice draw. So again, if you want to go first, it's up to you, but then again, you can also go second because you want to draw more cards. So let's say I would like to get one particular stun. It's okay, very fine with me, and we will try to absorb that one extra boon in order for us to be able to net us 2 additional cards by play second. So again, you don't have to do anything yet. Just place Crimson Cowl on your back row. Then when your opponent attacks, normally he can easily get stunned. Either your opponent gets stunned in return, or if not, then it's fine. Then now he becomes stunned. Okay, getting that wound. Now it's your turn, so now we have to draw 2 cards. Okay, and what we have, so lucky enough. See, now you have a Darkhold, and now we get an Avengers Mansion. So darn cool. Okay, you play your Avengers Mansion and you gain that first XP, and at the same time you can also play Helmut Zemo. It's okay, you can be a good blocker, but at the same time it's fine with me if you want to survive him or not. But then again, let's say you pass your turn, you go to your opponent's side of the board, and he gets to play a character, tap a resource, play a character, then gets to attack. Down goes Zemo to your KO pile, and Crimson Cowl gets stunned again for that second wound. Okay, it's alright, has 6 wounds, so no need to fear anything. So he passes his turn. Now this time you get to draw 2 cards again, and you have a Zemo and a Castle Zemo. Okay. So this time around, you can now play your Wakanda. Then you get to play Zemo again. And so once you play Zemo again, this time you can now play his Soul Distrust, because you can now use Castle Zemo on him. So you have to get to that particular nasty card like Dark Phoenix at the very onset of the game. So if Dark Phoenix is normally not aligned with your opponent's main character, then of course Helmut Zemo can discard that. So that will give you a more fighting chance of getting into the late rounds. Remember, this is a late game deck, so you have to be very patient with this. So now, okay, you pass your turn, your opponent gets to play a resource, draw, play a resource, then gets to recruit a character, then attack. So down goes your second Simo, and Crimson Cowl now gets attack and fetches another, wound for himself. Then of course, with no one else to attack, your opponent passes the turn, and now you go to your third turn. You draw 2 cards. Again, you have your second Avengers Mansion, and at the same time, you recover a Crimson Cowl, and now you play your second Avengers Mansion in order for Crimson Cowl to gain a level. Okay, so now it comes to 10 attack, 4 defense character. And this time, you still have 3 recruit points. So now you can play your Darkhold. So now this is where the fun begins. So when Darkhold appears, of course, you can now play your first plot twist, and instead of it going into your KO pile, it goes back into your hand. Of course, you can't play any main power yet because of course, Darkhold and Out of Time combo is executed during the build phase. Okay, so once that you're done, you cannot play any more characters. You now play Out of Time, and at the same time, your Ultron, together with all its equipments and counters, now disappear from that side of the board. And at the same time, your opponent's main character also goes out. Okay, so you're done, and now your setup time begins. Opponent plays those characters, no problem with that. Then at the same time, you get to withhold any attack because of course there's nobody else to attack with. And at the start of your turn, you get to return a Ultron, and at the same time get to return, of course, your opponent's character. The upside of this, of course, you have to understand, once their main character disappears and only to reappear during the next turn, most often it will try to prevent your opponent's main character, from leveling up. Okay, so get you to draw 2 additional cards because you're going to your 4th turn. Okay, so now you're able to play 2 more characters. It's up to you. And of course, the first that you would like to play is Fitzsimmons. And Fitzsimmons, of course, will enable you, because of his 2 agent keyword, to look at the top 2 cards of your deck. So again, you can see there that you have a Green Goblin and you have, a Primeval Hunter. So we have to put it down because we're looking for one particular character, and that he is your powerhouse in this deck. And at the same time, you still have 2 recruit points, and now you can play Primeval Hunter. So with nothing else to do, it's hide and seek. So with Out of Time again being played with Darkhold in play, you get to put this back into your hand. But don't worry, if you get to discard that, you still have a second Out of Time, as you have seen a while ago. And again, your Ultron will disappear. And at the same time, your opponent's main character will now disappear. So it's time for you to do your attack run. So Primeval Hunter, it's up to you if you want to attack with him, because he has 6 attack because of his Hunter, and at the same time get stunned, it's okay. At the same time, Fitzsimmons may also get stunned. It's up to you, but then again, if they choose by Engineer, that's no problem with you. Okay, it's alright. Then again, it's your opponent's turn. And at the same time, if your opponent now gets to play resources, gets to play equipment and characters, if they cannot answer to that Darkhold particular case, or they cannot discard it Out of Time from your hand, then again the loop will go on and on. So let's say it's time for you to draw 2 cards again. At the start of your turn, your Ultron will return in play, and your opponent's main character will also go back in play. It's time for you to draw 2 cards. Okay, so we now have another Game Preserve and another Out of Time. Okay? So, if you're lucky enough to draw one particular character, then that will begin your defensive flight wall. So, remember a while ago we have this particular active camouflage. So, let's try to do it again. Your Primeval Hunter may get stunned, it may get KO'd, Fitzsimmons may get KO'd, but then again, you have out of time because you will remove your Ultron from the game. So, after this deck is a little bit worse, but again, you see, the real goal here is to get to your Whirlwind. If somehow, okay, your Primeval Hunter was able to survive that round, then, okay, let's try to simulate, okay? Let's say you try to protect your Primeval Hunter and Fitzsimmons now is in front. That's no problem with that. But again, of course, Darkhold will disappear together with Ultron once you play out of time. So they attack with Fitzsimmons, it gets KO'd, then Primeval Hunter somehow survives. Then when you draw Whirlwind, okay, now this is where the actual fun begins. So what you can do here is play your 5th resource. So now you're able to play Whirlwind, and at the same time you can now play active camouflage. So in this particular case, let me explain. Whirlwind is a 6 attack, 4 defense supporting character with 1 health. He has flight and he has the human top. So Whirlwind cannot be struck in melee combat. Simple as that. The only weakness that Whirlwind has, of course, is it is being attacked from the range position. So anyone with range can actually strike at him. But then once you are able to put active camouflage on him, then now he gains this particular keyword power, and that is it changed colors. So equipped character now has +2 attack, +2 defense. So technically it will give Whirlwind an 8 attack, 6 defense stat, and at the same time he now gains dodge, so he cannot be range attack, and he gains stealth, so he can attack back row, okay, defenders even if they are protected. Okay, so now that he's in front, so anybody attacking him at the front can strike at him. So unless they can remove that active camouflage or somehow daze Whirlwind, then he can attack with a ping pong foam or he can attack with whatever he likes, but then it will not bring Whirlwind down. So once this setup is complete on your 5th or 6th turn, again you can still play your out of time, but then again you can survive your Primeval Hunter. You have to survive your Primeval Hunter. There was a misplay a while ago, and I have to admit, so of course I'm just human, I should have retained that one particular card, which is the other copy of the Primeval Hunter. Because the moment that, of course, you are able to play Primeval Hunter again, then you can now put Whirlwind into play and place an active camouflage on him. So, you have to go to your 6th turn in order to do that. So, you have to be patient with this deck, because again, if you're playing out of time, you must be patient enough to have all the time in the world. And again, a disclaimer guys, you play this in a tournament wherein there is no time limit, okay? Just like in the Philippines. So if you play this in the US or in other foreign countries, sometimes they are time limited to 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Then you have to be able to come up with a particular strategy per deck wherein you would like to finish the game during the 7th, 8th, or 9th turn. So let's say if you try to continue again, then you have another Primeval Hunter. So again, if that was not the case, I can still play the active camo Whirlwind on the 6th turn because I already played this. Why? Because, or you can be on 7th turn. If somehow Primeval Hunter was killed, but then they did not touch on Fitzsimmons and still retains that Gadgeteer, okay, then you have to understand that you can play your 6th resource, which is your Game Preserve, and at the same time, look at this guys, now you can put Whirlwind and you can still play your active camouflage, and that brings you to just one resource. Sorry, you can still play one other resource, and that is your Primeval Hunter. Okay, so that completes all your recruit points. But since you have Fitzsimmons to play for your Bioengineer or Gadgeteer, but if they have already stand down Gadgeteer, Bioengineer, then Gadgeteer can still play for you. Okay, flip down that red location and you can pay 2 less to play Active Camouflage. It's still the same effect. Now your Active Camouflage is there and Whirlwind is now invulnerable. Okay, then again, play your Out of Time just as a precaution, because now what you're looking here are going to the 7th turn are your big characters. Okay, so you're really looking for those big characters like Mr. M, and of course you can look at other cards like Dark Phoenix or your Wrecking Crew guys. Okay, in other cases I'm also looking at the possibility of removing all my 3 drops totally, just the 2nd drop going to the 4th drop, then the 4th drop going to the 6th or 7th drop, and replacing those 3 Green Goblins of course with far bigger characters like Ping Pang Pum, or let's say Gilgamesh, or even 1 copy of Thanos. But again, I'm not playing green, so I'm not looking forward to that. So yellow, maybe a Sentry, but again, Sentry is really dumb if you don't have a yellow location. Okay, so this is how totally outrageous the new Ultron Crimson Cowl deck works. Okay, the Whirlwind Active Camouflage together with the Out of Time Darkhold combo. And again, I use 2 particular set of combos here, and in my succeeding videos you can see how I really use 2 to 3 sets of combos to have a backup plan for each of my strategies of my deck. Okay, so after this, of course, we are looking now at what are the particular components of the Crimson Cowl Ultron Hide and Seek deck. So just stick with me as we go back in a while and try to fix this mess up and try to look at what are the cards included in the deck list of the Ultron Crimson Cowl Hide and Seek deck. So once again, we're going to go to the deck components portion of our video, and this is now the consistency of the Hide and Seek deck for Crimson Cowl, aka Ultron of the Masters of Evil. So we have here our red deck box again, and we're going to show you what are the supporting characters, plot twists, and of course locations and equipment that are included with the Ultron Hide and Seek deck. And this is of course Ultron, or better known as Crimson Cowl at level 1. So to try to define Crimson Cowl is of course this is like an AKA for Ultron in the comics, and you can see here that at level 1 he's kind of weak. He's only a 4 attack 2 defense character with flight and range, and he has 6 health. So the 2 defense is rather poor for a main character, and it is easily stunnable in most gameplay. And the offset here of course is he has 6 health, which can help you survive matches a little bit longer. So aka Ultron, so you cannot really play any other Ultron cards while this is your MC. But since most of the Ultron have Swarm, most especially the 2 costs that came out with Masters of Evil and the original 4-drop Ultron from the Marvel Battle set. But in this particular case, of course, we have seen in the gameplay that there are not much of that many Ultron in this deck. Actually, there are none. And the Ultrons will appear in a later deck, which also centers on another supervillain main character. So, going back to Crimson Cowl, at level 1, his superpower is Gas Pellet Pistol. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 red power symbol and choose an enemy supporting character. Crimson Cowl could attack. Then choose one. Either use Sleeping Gas to daze that character, or use Lethal Gas, wound that character until it has 1 remaining health. So not much, because of course it cannot really stun and wound. So therefore, KO supporting characters from your opponent's board at his level 1 state. So you really need to have him level up. And of course, his level up powers is acquire blueprints, so he needs only 2 to level up. When you play an Avengers Mansion, okay, special occasion, then Crimson Cowl gets 1 XP. That is why, of course, this particular deck also has 4 copies of Avengers Mansion, as you have seen in the gameplay, in order to help Crimson Cowl level up. Then once he gets to level 2, now he becomes a little bit more formidable. He still has flight and range and at 6 health, but now he becomes a 10 attack, 4 defense character, which normally can stun higher cost characters in the game. And he has Infiltrate the Mansion, so Ultron gains this particular keyword wherein he can use Avengers Mansion to pay for superpower. So just like if you're going to use his eye meters, you can use the Castle Simo special location for him, and at the same time you can use the blue location for him, or let's say laboratory, and you now can use the Avengers Mansion special location for him. So that technically gives him 12 chances to be able to play his superpower. And speaking of superpower, he gains a different superpower at level 2, and that is he gains eye emitters. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 blue power symbol to choose an enemy supporting character Ultron could attack. Then choose one. Either use Hypno Beams, and you can ready that character and move it to your side, and at the end of your turn, move it back. So similar to what Professor X can do with his mind control. And at the same time, he also has Ultra Blast. So with Ultra Blast, of course, wound that character. So if it has only 1 health, then you can technically KO that character. Okay? Now, so that we already have our main character discussed, now let's go to our supporting characters. And you have seen a while ago how outrageous one particular supporting character can become in this particular deck. And we're speaking, of course, of the new guy in town, Whirlwind. But before we go to him, let's first discuss all the drops from level 1 cost all the way to the highest cost of your deck. For your 1 drop, you only have 1 set, and you have 4 copies of the Baron Zemo. And of course, sorry, Helmut Zemo. I stand to be corrected. And Helmut Zemo is from the Underworld team. He is a 1 cost character with 2 attack and 1 defense and 1 health, and he has range. So he can sow Distrust, meaning during the main phase you may pay 1 yellow power symbol and look at an enemy player's hand and choose a character that doesn't share a team affiliation with that player's main character. Then that player discards that character. We have decided to put Helmut Zemo as your first drop because of course you can use either an Academy or an Auriga, or you can use the Castle Zemo to pay for Helmut Zemo's superpower. Because of course, Helmut Zemo is still a Zemo. So that keeps him dancing, okay, just like in the Winter Soldier. Okay, and of course, Baron Zemo can early on discard those critical cards from your opponent's hand, most especially if they are running the likes of Thanos or Dark Phoenix, which are normally not aligned with their main characters. So that goes for that Zemo. And for your 2 drops, you have your first set, and these are 4 copies of Primeval Hunter. And Primeval Hunter is a staple in most multiverse deck that runs several equipment from the Predator's team. And why? Because of course, Primeval Hunter is a little bit tough to KO. It has 2 health, and it has 3 attack, 2 defense, and at the same time, it's an early on attacker for you because it has Hunter. So meaning, Primeval Hunter has plus 3 attack, plus 0 defense while attacking. And he can also become the Apex Predator because during the main phase, you may pay 1 green power symbol, and Primeval Hunter has stealth and lethal this turn. But of course, the main purpose here is for you to be able to set up your Whirlwind Active Camouflage Outrageous combo. Okay? So, there he goes. And another set of your 2 drops are, of course, 4 copies of my beloved Fitzsimmons. So, the partners in crime are actually from the Shield team, and Fitzsimmons, we have discussed this in several videos before, is a 2 attack, 2 defense character with 2 health, and they have both cases of agent. So you can actually look at the top 2 cards of your deck once they appear, or additional cards on the top of your deck if you have other agents in play. And at the same time, they are joined at the hip. So when Fitzsimmons gets wounded, they lose 1 agent, and the enemy can choose either, of course, Bioengineer or Gadgeteer for them to be lost. Okay, so that means you can use that superpower until they get healed. And speaking of Bioengineer, of course, we have put Fitzsimmons in this deck because we want to ramp early without necessarily needing the use of Mantis or, let's say, Mirage. And Bioengineer, during the build phase, you may pay 1 yellow power symbol, and you may pay 2 less to recruit the next character or supporting character that you play this turn. Okay, so Gadgeteer, at the same time, during the build phase, you may pay 1 red power symbol, and now you may pay 2 less to play any the next equipment that you will be playing this turn. So again, that's Fitzsimmons for your ramping objective, and to be able to play higher cost characters early on is 2 turns ahead of your opponent. Now going to our 3rd drop, of course, we have 3 copies of Green Goblin, and Green Goblin is here primarily for us to stop rampaging Outriders. Okay, but at the same time, Green Goblin is a very good flight wall because he has 3 defense and 4 attack. At the same time, he has flight. Weak at 1 health, but he has blast. So when he appears, choose an enemy row and put a -1/-1 counter on each character on that row. So I put 3 Green Goblin here because, of course, the 4th slot for your 3 drop is filled by the one and only Bulldozer. Okay, so Bulldozer is from the Masters of Evil, and he is one of the Wrecking Crew. So he has 3 attack, 3 defense, and a very tough 2 health. At the same time, he is one of a kind. You can only have 1 of this card in your deck, and at the same time, you have to have a starting Masters of Evil main character as part of the requirement. And then he has the Wrecking Helmet. So technically, to make it short, Bulldozer can actually attack enemy resource row. So when he strikes a resource row, KO a number of course, random location, they're equal to his attack, then replace them with cards from the top of the player's deck face down, even if they are locations. So let's say he has 3 attack and 3 defense, and your opponent has 3 locations available. Then once he attacks, he can directly attack. No need for him to go through, of course, those enemy defenders row. And at the same time, those 3 locations are replaced. And at the same time, if they are those cards that are replacing them are actually face down. So this will deter most superpower strategies of your opponent because they get to lose a sizable number of locations that will be used to pay for those characters' superpower. Okay, and at the same time, he has Wrecking Crew. So the moment you're able to play other Wrecking Crew members in your board, Then Bulldozer gains a +2 plus attack +2 defense for each other Wrecking Crew, okay, that are on your side. And take note, these are bonuses, not counters, so they don't get to lose them as long as the other Wrecking Crews are surviving, okay, alongside Bulldozer. That's it. And now for the main event. But of course, our 4-drop is what we are here for, and because Whirlwind will try to blow away your opponents. Okay? So Whirlwind is a 4-cost Masters of Evil supporting character with 6 attack and 4 defense. Almost similar to Miss America, but Miss America is on the 5th turn range. And he has flight and 1 defense, but he is the human top, so Whirlwind cannot be struck in melee combat. So a while ago, we have shown you that the main active combo here in this deck, besides of course the Out of Time and Darkhold, are of course active Camouflage and Whirlwind. Because the moment that, of course, Whirlwind cannot be struck in any melee combat. So even if it has Ferocious, it has 25-25 attacking defense, okay, human top prevents Whirlwind from being struck, so it's still very much alive after the combat. But then again, Whirlwind with that 1 health and very low health can actually be susceptible to range attack. But the moment you put an active Camouflage on him, now he gains a +2 attack, +2 defense, and at the same time he has dodge. So of course characters cannot range attack him, and at the same time you can now bypass those front row defenders because he gains that stealth. So this is actually one of the key cards of your deck, because the moment that of course you fail to play that Out of Time Darkhold combo, Whirlwind can help prevent your opponent's characters from getting through him and of course striking at your Ultron or Crimson Cowl if you still haven't leveled up. And Whirlwind is very powerful in that case, okay, once you're able to attach. So I think the only way to stop him is if you have net launchers, but then again you can still play if you have an extra copy of that active Camouflage, so that you can again effect that combination. Okay, now we still have another slot for your 4-drop, and that is Pile Driver. So Pile Driver at 4 cost range is a 4 attack 4 defense character with 2 health. Still has the similar stats to Bulldozer. He has of course one of a kind starting main character required, and he has Wrecking Hand. So this time around, Pile Driver can attack enemy's hand. So similar to what Bulldozer can do, you can go directly to your opponent's hand, and same time whatever his attack is, that is the number of cards that your opponent has to discard, and at the same time, okay, they get to draw additional cards equal to that attack rating. Okay, but of course you have to understand that if your opponent only has 2 cards in his hand, and you attack with a 4 attack Pile Driver or a 6 attack Pile Driver, if there's another Wrecking Crew in play, then you give your opponent a better advantage because he will get to discard 2 cards and at the same time draw 6 cards. Okay, although of course we still have to clarify this with the BS2PCG Collective if this has already been clarified. So if only the number of cards discarded are equal to the number of cards that are to be drawn. Okay, so we'll check with that. And again, with Wrecking Crew, he gets an additional +2 attack, +2 defense for each Wrecking Crew members that are on your side. So he has to be the other 3 Wrecking Crew members. And going to our 5 range, we have of course Thunderbolt, and he's the only 5 cost character in your deck. He's a 5 attack 5 defense character with 2 health, so again similar to Bulldozer and Pile Driver, and he's one of a kind with Masters of Evil starting main character required, and he has Wrecking Ball. So this time around Thunderbolt can now go after your opponent's library. So when he attacks again, whatever his attack is, your opponent will now get to mill, okay, those, let's say, it says here that when he strikes an enemy, okay, and a number of random cards, okay, on his, okay, library, okay, so equal, okay, when he strikes an enemy, each enemy deck and a number of random cards from the top of it equal to his attack will go to the KO pile. But then again, there's no replacement. So Thunderbolt is powerful enough to dwindle down your opponent's possible chance of setting up his deck's strategy. And again, he has Wrecking Bolt, so Wrecking Crew's keyword. So again, he gains an additional +2 attack, +2 defense for each other Wrecking Crew members on your side. And going to our 6th drop, after we can use Iron Man for our 6th drop, but since of course you need to get your hands more on a Predator so that you can play that active Camouflage and Whirlwind, and at the same time Ghost will be your best choice for your 6th drop. And Ghost at 6 is a 6 attack 7 defense character with 2 health, so very durable enough, and at the same time he has range. He also has sleep, so during your turn he can go flying and hit defending characters at the back row even while they are protected. Of course, if the protectors in front do not have any flight. And he has remarkable weaponry, so when Ghost appears, reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal an equipment. You may play it for free onto Ghost or put it into your hand. Shuffle the rest of the reveal cards into your deck. So 2 copies of Ghost because of course we need to get our hands on an additional active Camouflage, or maybe if you're desperate enough, try to get your hands on that Darkhold to be able to play Out of Time. And for our other 6 costs, the remaining slot goes to the Wrecker, the big boss of all the Wrecking Crew. And he is a 6 attack, 6 defense character with 2 health. Again, one of a kind and starting main character required. And he has Wrecking Bar, so the Wrecker can melee attack enemy cards, hands, and resource rows. So you have to choose one, and at the same time he can team attack. And let's say if it is Thunderbolt, then you can wreck the hell out of your opponent's library, because it will add 6 attack from Wrecker and 5 attack from Thunderbolt. That becomes 11, and at the same time you both get 2 + 2 attack + 2 defense. So again, you got an additional 4 attacks, so that's a total of 15 cards to be milled from your opponent's library. So this is not shattering just like with the other video, wherein your opponent's cards from the library are removed. They just go to the KO pile. And of course, as the head of the Wrecking Crew, he also has Wrecking Crew. And the Wrecker has +2 attack, +2 defense for each other Wrecking Crew character on your side. I would like to, of course, opt to have, let's say, a Copycat in my deck. But then again, Copycat has to wait for a Wrecker or a Thunderbolt to be able to copy it. Okay, but so at the same time, it can be also a very, very weak position for her to try to wait until another pile driver, okay, appears on the next turn, because of course your opponent can really go ahead at her. And at the same time, Ultron will get to disappear more often because of Out of Time and Darkhold. So that's why it's up to you. Again, a disclaimer on all the decks that I have created. Again, it's up to you on how you would like to tweak this particular deck, okay, to suit your need. And we don't have any 7 drop for our deck. I opted for a Claw, but again, remove it in favor of Ghost. But we go straight to our 8 drop, and that is of course Mr. M. And Mr. M, as we have discussed before with other decks like Dutch Pitch Engine and the likes, he is an 8 drop Omega level mutant with 15 attack and 10 defense and 1 health and with range. And so he has Omega level mutant trait, so you can put Omega level mutants with other names on your deck. And at the same time, he has of course subatomic manipulation. So in this particular case, subatomics of manipulation will enable you to remove one power or one set of powers from a character that you choose once he appears, or you can use power, okay, that is power augmentation. Sorry, I have very poor eyes already once I remove my glasses. And power augmentation, now you have to choose one character from your side and you can duplicate that power. So let's say Wrecking Bar can hit your opponent twice once he attacks. Or you can use twice your Fitzsimmons to be able to reduce 4, okay, instead of 2 on your next character being played. Okay, so that is Mr. M. And also, of course, we need Mr. M here because we try to avoid being dropped with that particularly nasty lady called Dark Phoenix. Okay, that will remove either plot twist, so that can play out of time, or it will remove, of course, your equipment, so that Whirlwind cannot become a little bit immortal. Okay, and finally, as a precaution, we have our Night Trap, and that is Dark Phoenix. So again, Dark Phoenix, we're all aware of how powerful this card can be. And she's from the Femme Fatale with a 10 attack, 15 defense, and 2 health. And she has light and range. And she can, of course, deconstruct the universe. So once you recruit Dark Phoenix, you get to remove one of the following, attributes from the game. So either remove all +1/+1 and -1/-1 counters. But again, vitality counters are not affected. Then you can remove equipment, you can remove keyword text. Okay, again, that is keyword text, not level up powers. Okay, level up powers are not really affected. But then again, you can remove level, so that all characters go back to being level 1. And at the same time, you can remove plot twist. Okay, that particularly nasty strategy to remove that parallel dimension, and at the same time you can remove all superpowers from the game. So until the next game, of course. Okay, so Dark Phoenix is your precautionary measure, or let's say if you're up against Outriders, then you can remove the that particularly nasty swarm, so that you kill all the dogs except for one. So now, speaking of course, our supporting characters, we have several equipments in our deck. And first of all, we have 3 copies of Active Camouflage. And Active Camouflage is your ultimate combo for your Whirlwind. And at 1 cost, it is a Predator equipment. And it changes colors, so the equipped character has +2 attack, +2 defense, and it gains dodge and stealth. So again, dodge is that character cannot be range attack, and at the same time stealth, that character can now attack or melee attack back row characters even if they have characters protecting them. And your masterpiece, of course, is the one-of-kind Darkhold. So Darkhold is malevolent, so you can only equip it to an evil character, and at the same time it has dark magic. So when you play your first plot twist each turn, put it in your hand instead of your KO pile. So this is the ultimate combo, of course, for the next card that we're going to discuss. And you have 4 copies of this plot twist. And for your plot twist, of course, we have Out of Time. Out of Time, the much talk about plot twist, okay, with the coming of Masters of Evil. So some say it is a little bit powerful, needs to be errated or needs to be banned. But again, of course, Upper Deck and Collective has not really made any final decision on this. But Out of Time, of course, during the build phase, remove your main character and an enemy player's main character from the game with their counters and equipments intact. And at the start of your next turn, each of these characters owners, of course, put that character onto their side. So again, it's like the ultimate delaying tactic, similar to what Invisible Woman's mass invisibility or W.O. Ripley's Hide in Shadows can do. So stall and stall until you're able to drop, of course, your Wreckers, your
Mr. M, and of course your Dark Phoenix. Again, if you have the chance, you can still, of course, add additional big character like King Fang Foom or even Gilgamesh onto your deck. But again, it's up to you on how you would like to do it. But again, to such time, while out of time and Darkhold are in play, then this can go on forever until your opponent can do something about it. Okay? So maybe the Book of Vishanti will become very much in demand right these days. Okay? A lot of players here are now asking me if I still have copies of Book of Vishanti, especially those do-gooder decks, okay, that they're playing. But again, I only have one copy, and again, it's already been reserved to one particular player, Art Zimmerman, and I still don't have much. I don't know if I can. I still think that I have 2 or 3, but I can't find it anywhere. Okay, okay, so I'm trying to hide it. Okay, just kidding. And of course, your last set of plot twists are Masters of Evil. So this search card is this cry card is like, look at the cards from top of your deck equal to the highest cost Masters of Evil or Evil supporting character on your side. Put any number on top of your side and the rest on the bottom. So let's say if you have what do you call this? Okay, Dark Phoenix on your side of the board, then you can look at the top 9 cards of your deck and rearrange them. So I can't really put 4 of them because I tried that with the first set of play testing, and sometimes, okay, it's a little bit off. So just 2 will be good for you. Okay? And going to our last set of cards, of course, we have our locations. And the very first location, of course, which goes really good with this deck, are Wakandas. And Wakanda, you have 3 copies of this in your deck. You can use Vibranium technology wherein during your build phase, your main character may pay a yellow power symbol, and if it does turn this location face down, then search your deck for an equipment, rebuild it, and put it into your hand. This is the card, the clutch card you need to be able to search your Darkhold early on. Or if you have an extra of this, of course, you need to search for your active camouflage. And Wakanda, you have 3 copies because of course the 4th one is considered like you have that Darkhold. So instead of Wakanda, you still have, I can now draw that Darkhold. So that's at least a 4 chance to get that one of a kind equipment. Okay? Then we have 4 copies of Academy, the Auriga. I was supposed to say Academy, but still it produces yellow power symbol. And at the same time, that yellow power symbol are used in a lot of ways here in your deck. You can use it for Helmut Simo's Soul Distrust. You can also use it for Fitzsimmons by Engineer. And of course, those particular attributes are very important in your deck because you can destroy your opponent's tempo with Soul Distrust and at the same time wrap up your deck with Fitzsimmons Bio Engineer. So just focus on those things, guys, of course. And we have 4 copies of the Game Preserve. That is for your red power symbol. And okay, as a disclaimer, we have used 4 of this because sometimes you need to use Fitzsimmons Gadgeteer in order to be able to drop that additional play of active camouflage on your Whirlwind. But let's say if you have only 4 resources, then of course that 4 resources will go to dropping in that Whirlwind, considering that you have a Primeval Hunter out in play and he has survived 1 turn of being stunned. Okay, so your lacking of 1 resource point can be answerable by the use of Fitzsimmons Gadgeteer. And of course, the red location is used for Crimson Cowl's pellet gun, no matter how lousy it is. Okay, and now we have 2 copies of the Nostromo for blue location. And blue power symbol is best used, of course, for Ultron's eye meters. You don't need 12. Okay, so just 10 will be good enough because of course Ultron can use Castle Zemo, and at the same time he can use Avengers Mansion to pay for his superpower. and at least you have 2 additional extra the Nostromo in order for you to be able to still use that superpower once it is needed. And finally, the purpose of Crimson Cowl's ultimate evil scheme are 4 copies of Avengers Mansion. And Avengers Mansion, of course, is very much needed in this deck because these are your level up requirements. So you need to play 2 of them in order to gain a 2 XP for Ultron to level up. And finally, your main special location are 4 copies of Castle Simo. And Castle Simo, of course, can produce any power symbol for your Master's Playable character. And of course, the good thing about it is also a character with the Simo in its name. So Helmut Simo is very much in this deck because he can use Castle Simo. But of course, this is most especially used for Ultron. Also, most especially when you are using it for Wakanda, or let's say you're using it for his eye emitters. I haven't used any green for Primeval Hunter, not much the same the red, but because you have to understand that once you get your hands on that Whirlwind and play it together with your active camouflage, that will provide the much needed stealth, which is at the same time is the same effect with Primeval Hunter. Primeval Hunter is there just because of course you need to really play this active camouflage on Whirlwind as earlier as possible to provide that unbreakable flight wall because of his human tap. And at the same time, Primeval Hunter on his own is already formidable enough because he gains plus 3 additional attack, making it a total of 6 attack because of his Hunter keyword. So, okay, so that's it guys. I hope you like another great episode of our totally outrageous deck. And this is outrageous enough because, you know, just try to create a deck like this and play it. And similar to what we were able to do with the Cable Hyperstorm deck, or the Cable Storm, the endless loop of having to go back in time travel, is similar to what this Ultron, okay, hide and seek deck can do. Of course, everybody already knows the Dark Hold out of time combo. And you know, removing a character every turn, unless it is answered to by your opponent, can really be frustrating on the opposite side of the board. And I really like this deck, very cool enough. And of course, still have much to tweak because I already Alex actually tried to play it just once during the last event, okay, and that was the 34K Gem Duel qualifiers last I think that Sunday, particular Sunday, and it did well, but again fell short of the Outriders because during that time the active camouflage actually we forgot to bring it along. So there's nobody else with active camouflage during the event, and you know, it's really embarrassing for us to try to borrow one. So I really would like to apologize for that. So we just placed 4th, and of course we don't have a Dark Phoenix during that time. We don't have a Mr. M. It's just like a plain, okay, Masters of Evil with just a Dark Hold and out of time. So nothing, not very much. Okay, still susceptible to the Kingpin Medical School, and still susceptible to the Outriders. Very aggressive attack runs. Okay, so before we go, of course, we'd like to thank our friends from the BS2PCG Collective. So shout out to all my friends there, Mr. Ben, Mr. Joe Vitelli, Mr. Danny Privet, Chad Daniel, and of course Patrick Murray. All of you guys are so great, and thank you very much for helping us, of course, lending us the BS Illuminati Discord server for our online tournament here in the Philippines. And at the same time, we also like to thank our friends from the Buildface Collective, Buildface USA, sorry. And Buildface USA is the official sponsor of the Buildface League Philippine Edition. And this is our ongoing online tournament. We are about to end the very first season because we already are in the semifinals. And at the same time, we're just waiting for the final result of whoever will win between the Outriders, run by Dan Saniel de la Cruz, and Warrant Officer Ripley, played by Mars Supersticioso. And of course, we also have Jessica Jones, played by Mr. Alex Adan. And probably it will be Magneto, okay, run by Gino Byron Noynoy, or Captain Marvel, as piloted by Mr. Jaime Villafuerte V. So very powerful contention there, very powerful decks. We have seen them all in action. And also at the same time, we'd like to thank our official sponsor, our official partner, and that is Treats for Them. So Treats for Them is TREATS, the number 4, THEM. And Treats for Them is how it works, guys, okay? If you are an expat or an FW abroad and you have friends and families here in the Philippines, you can then use Treats for Them to order treats online, have them sent by more than our 250 or 300 merchants here in the Philippines, all over the country, as long as there's a branch there that are using Treats for Them. Then at the same time, you can pay for them using your credit card or debit card and have them pick up, okay, your gifts or treats, okay, or libre, that's what we call here in Filipino, okay, at the store nearest to them. So at the same time, you get to pay for them, so they don't have to pay anything, so that is already called a treat. So again, guys, you can download Treats for Them at our, okay, online app at the Google Play Store, and or at the same time you can visit our official website at www.treatsforthem.com. And of course, I'd like to thank another one of our official sponsor, and that is Ecosphere. Okay, Ecosphere by Newlen. And Ecosphere is a compact water treatment system. It's so compact, as you can see in the picture, that it can fit in your small sink. And it has 4 stages of ultra purification, so that means it is considered as very safe drinking water for your family. So guys, why settle for those blue water containers, okay, or those huge round bottles of water, okay, wherein it eats up space in your kitchen or in your house? So if you like, okay, to check on Ecosphere, you can visit the official website at www.newskin.com and make sure that, okay, you contact Newlen at Facebook. That's NU space LEN. And of course, Newlen can help, okay, you to have an Ecosphere installed in your home. So once again, guys, that is Ecosphere. And before we go, as you can see in our picture, we'd like to thank our official venue here in the Philippines, and that is Forge Hobby Place. And Forge Hobby Place is located at Unit 5, number 70, Velasquez Compound. We are located at the 3rd floor, okay, and that is along Naga Road in Pamplona 2, Las Piñas City, Philippines. We have weekly VS tournaments, VS2 PCG tournaments at Forge Hobby Place. And of course, if there are no lockdowns, it's normally considered to be staged every Sunday. So that is our regular event there. And currently, we are running the 24K Gem Duel qualifiers. So ultimately, we can get to the very final event in a number of months, okay? And that is wherein you can win 24,000 pesos cash, okay? That is to be partake by 4 top players and of course 4 top rankers in the ongoing tournament. And that's of course all the other freebies besides, okay? And sometimes, okay, once a month we are also playing our tournaments at PM Apartments. And PM Apartments is located up north at number 24 Matolino Street in Diliman, Quezon City, Philippines. So once again, guys, this is your host Mark Iyong, and this is the Crimson Cowl Ultron, okay, hide and seek outrageous deck. And next episode, we're going to have a very cool new deck which will feature the powerful Adam Warlock. So once again, guys, thank you very much, and This is Ultron and Crimson Cloud Hide and Seek deck.
TikTok All Star.